introduction. Today we are going to talk about the assessment task designed by ourselves. Our group member are Huihua and I, Yali. Our presentation includes 6 parts. The first one is a background, and the next 5 parts are about the 5 principles of task assessment. Now let's look at the background of students. The students group is around 10 years old. They are low proficiency, only master some basic vocabularies and simple sentence. And the classroom context is compulsory English class in Chinese primary school. In this test, we will use paper, pens, alarm as the materials. Before the test starts, teachers will introduce the test requirement to students clearly and give some example to them, show how to complete these questions. The test is within teachers' observation and display maintaining. Besides, the specific skill that this test assessing are children's basic vocabulary spelling and objective distinguishing. Next page, thank you. Now we are moving to test introduction. The requirement of the test is complete the spelling and matching the right picture. We designed the test is for training children's ability to recognize and distinguish main transportations and know how to spelling these English words. It can also help teachers clear students' current learning situation and get some information for advancing learning process. This test usually placed at the end of English class. Students should complete this test in 50 minutes, and the total score is 25. 20 for paper test, 5 for observation. The details are shown as follows, such as if students write the correct answer in matching, they can get 1 point. And if they can answer the question quickly, they can get 3 points. What's more, the test is a regular formative unit test. It carries in bright classroom within moderate temperature, no noise to disturb, supervised by teacher. And there are 2 minutes for students to ask questions not related to test content. During the test, no textbook and study materials can be used. Then the test result will be feedback at the beginning of the next class. You can see the example of our test design in the next slide. Next page, please. Then I'm going to discuss the practicality and washback of this test. From the following factors, I think this test is high practicality. For teachers, it doesn't take a lot of time to do the preparation and correcting for the test. The equipments that needed are very simple, and it is easy to give feedback. For students, the test only needs 15 minutes, and it is sufficient for them to complete all the questions. Also, and the difficult level is suitable. Moreover, students can just do the test in classroom. No need to take up additional space. Next page. For the positive washback, firstly, this kind of test could enhance students' memory of new words and provide students with an opportunity to review what they have learned in this unit. Secondly, this test uses real photos of different transportations, help children to recognize them in real life. Besides, this assessment combines teachers' observation and paper test, provide both subjective and objective information, help teachers understand students' learning in different perspectives. Moreover, assessing spelling skill and spelling response speed with beginners could give insight on students' word reading skills, which is helpful for sentence focus of future teaching. It also provides important information about their level of development and their ability to flexibly apply important skills to print-related tasks. For the negative washback, Since the test is carried out immediately at the end of the class, it is difficult to judge if the student really mastered this content or they can answer this question only because they just learned it. Additionally, different students may come from different places. The local transportations will also look so different. If the teacher does not explain this in detail, it will also affect students' recognition of transportation. Then my partner Huihua will introduce the next part.
Let's continue with reliability. The first point, student-related reliability. Pre-collection of physical and mental condition information to make sure that students are in the consistent normal condition to take the test and to avoid situations that students would be plagued by bad physical or psychological condition. While they are out, give them another chance to take a test. Clear claim on the question stems for efficiency test taking. Teachers would show the clear direction of reading to students and give students 2 minutes to ask questions about criteria and stems. This action would be helpful for test takers to test efficiently. Bonus marks given to observation. The assessment includes consideration of students' physical and psychological condition. There is a clear and consistent standard for the reader to give the mark. Bonus mark is a means to evaluate students' testing skills, which would aid to their bonus scores. The second point, reader reliability, low possibility of incorrect scoring with sample numbers. Testing results would be marked by exact numbers. There are only 2 possible outcomes of each spelling question or matching pass, getting 1 or getting 0. Once the reader sticks to the criteria, it is highly influenced by subjective views. Subjectivity influence on bonus marks. It could be little difficult for the reader to track every test taker's behavior all the time. Sometimes, although there are clear criteria, the reader might evaluate students with subjective feelings. In this case, the bonus method would show a low rated reliability. Only one reader as an instant test of the unit. This test would be instructed by teachers in the classroom. This results into high reliance on the teacher's objectivity, but at the same time, it could avoid inter-reader unreliability. The third point, test admission reliability. Test makers are in their familiar and comfortable test room. Because there is a classroom test, students could take the test in their own states. With well-printed examination copies. Teacher unifies printing before handing out papers. Every copy would be clear for the test taker to read. The last point, test reliability. Relatively even difficult items. On the one hand, all the words we choose are closely related to daily life. All these are common words. They are generally even difficult items. On the other hand, there are differences in the difficulty of remembering these words. For example, the shortest one bus and the longest one motor bicycle. Potential distractor for some students. For some students, difference among pictures are difficult to distinguish, especially the image of car and taxi. Today, there are many Uber cars in the street which might be mistook as taxi by children. Finally, picture from real life. We stick the reliable picture in real life on the paper. The fourth principle applied in the task assessment is validity. To detail it from the perspective of content-related evidence, all the samples in this paper are from what students learned in the past lessons. All the vocabulary and images are from what learners have studied in the textbook. About the criterion-related evidence, I divided it into 2 sub-validity according to our textbook. At first, concurrent validity as a unit test for one thing, the assessment gave a feedback not only to student but also to the teacher about learning outcomes from previous unit. A student who currently spell each word and match every pair with has bonus points could be judged as students with best command of the unit. For another, predictive validity, the assessment results also indicate whether students are able to enter the next unit which based on the previous learning or not. A student who does not reach the lowest pass line at 16% would be regarded as a weaker learner of the unit. Then about construct-related evidence, the task test student largely what should be tested. Within the target area, task and assessment designed to test learners' daily using ability. Because China is Chinese mainstreaming society at primary stage, we just focus on the reading and writing to deal with the walls that may occur. As for consequential validity, we have discussed many consequences in the criterion-related evidence part. Here, we mainly consider social consequence. For intended social consequence, students might be able to distinguish the vehicles in the street and understanding some words displayed in the traffic sign or auto broadcasting. For unintended social consequence, it's very interesting. There are a lot of English variations, such as subway in American English and underground in British English. Also, some words may use with the informal expression in some occasion, like bicycle and bike. A good amount of the license sometimes may lead to a confusion in real life. For the last phase, validity, first, the test is relevant to the content every student has learned in class, so it is very fair to be evaluate their different learning levels. As a low-stake formative test, it should be involved more motivating factors to encourage students carefully prepare. We said that the topic of the unit is as transport. We test the basic knowledge about it. Students would find that the just test things closely connected to their preparation. No personal gains. The better they studied, the higher score they got. It's a very fair. Secondly, students could consolidate knowledge with tests. By doing this test, students might review the past unit and find weaknesses. Then they could efficiently study the next unit, traveling, which would involve much knowledge in this unit. The final principle I talked about is authenticity. I think that task assessment designed by us does not lack it. Firstly, task and feedback contain language that is as natural as possible. The question stem is given in simple language. What's more, teacher also explain it in simple language too. Secondly, the task has been contextualized in some ways. Obviously, the words are not inserted into an article or story. Students mainly focus on isolated words, but to some extent, it associated with contextualized picture, which assists in training their ability to apply the traffic meanings in the real world. It shows a certain authenticity. Third, the task includes a relative, meaningful, relevant, interesting topic. This topic is very appealing to students who have an interest in transport. For other students, they may also hear those words when they are traveling. That's why the task could be considered as meaningful, relevant, and interesting. The last point, real-world task. Finally, there is no doubt that the materials the task adopt has close relationship with students' life and it exists here and there. About materials, also in the earlier discussion of consequential validity, we point out that there could be some unintended consequence. For example, one of the students go to the UK and found that here is no subway. But just as Kerr claimed in 2018, authenticity does not guarantee validity, but can contribute evidence to support it. This means that assessment tools must be designed to capture the cognitive and social process rather than the factual knowledge. Okay, these 4 points are existing evidence of authenticity in our task assessment. Till now, my teammate and I have discussed 5 principles in our task assessment. There are the articles and books assisting us in presentation. Thank you and thanks for watching.
Thank you.